Welcome to the Water Campfire. Tonight is a night where we recognize the leaders and the service and loyalty that they've shown to Deerhorn over the many years.
Just to commemorate that service they've given to us, we ask all you guys to stay silent throughout this entire night. Also, when you're going back to your koozies, it's just great to keep it mellow, let them talk, and hear some amazing things tonight. So just keep listening, all right?
When I think about the people I've met at camp, there's two types. There's people you grow up with that spend years and years at camp and eventually have to go their own way. And even though this hurts tremendously to see these people leave your life after all those years, it's easy to realize how many great years I got with them. Then there are those who suddenly come into your life. Those who just randomly appear as a whisper from a friend, hey, that kid is going to be the best leader you ever have. I shake it off as I have heard this before, but little did I know, this person would become one of those people that appear in your life as a chapter that changes you. Although it's short and unexpected, it becomes one of the most important chapters. These are the people that leave you wishing this chapter started years ago. And although I wish your chapter was longer in my life, I will be forever grateful for the things you have taught me. It took about 2 conversations before I knew you would be one of my people. You were so much like Walt, I almost couldn't believe it. You were goofy yet intelligent, spread laughter like it was your job, and stood up for those who couldn't. Although you are far from quiet, there is something about your quiet calmness that everyone can enjoy when you're around. You're a wild child with the ability to walk the line when you see it's necessary. You're wise beyond your years and a friend to everyone. You have done such a good job at becoming your own person and helping others do the same along the way. The smile that beams from its edges every time you talk about something you love is so contagious it's nearly impossible to be sad when you're around. I've never met anyone who loves people more than you do. You have such a passion for souls and it shows in everything you do. You're one of the most grounded people that has ever come through Deerhorn, and although you may not be able to see your own excellence, it's honestly all that we know, and we've been amazed by it every single day. This place provides you with a village, a family. This family is built from people who support you, encourage you, make you smile on a tough day, and make you a better person day in and day out. When asking campers and staff how you have impacted their lives, I wasn't a bit surprised by their responses. They told me your friendship was the easy and selfless kind, that you were the type of person who would do anything for them without questions asked, the kind of friend where your happiness makes up so much of theirs. They told me your friendship consisted of always having you in their corner and the willingness to make sacrifices and meet them in the middle. Not only is it easy to hear about your greatness, but seeing it firsthand never surprises us. You went out of your way PIO year to make sure everyone felt included both on and off the trips. You handled the strangest 8-liter summer with such grace, and instead of being upset about sharing your role, you found ways to make it more exciting. When injury stunted your ability to participate in countless things this summer, you took it in stride and made the most out of everything. Even all the little things that may seem insignificant to you have become invaluable treasures to young campers, like piggyback rides, a simple high five, or moving your seat in the dining hall to sit with someone alone. You are such a pivotal part of Camp Deerhorn, and one of the true reasons campers come back year after year. I can't put into words how thankful I am that you're a part of our village and became a part of this family all those years ago. After a long 2 years away from camp, I thought things would seem different, but watching you and the other leaders fall in love with every aspect of camp this summer has only proven that this place will always be home no matter what. This night seems like the end of an era, but I promise it's just the start of something even greater. Hearing how you have impacted so many lives here at camp, I hope you're able to see that your success is what you do, but your significance is what you give in life. And your significance is so much more important than your success, and you're one of the most significant people not only in my life, but here at Camp Deerhorn. I may not have believed Walt all those years ago, but I certainly do now. Not only are you a great leader, but you're a great person, and Deerhorn is beyond lucky to have you. I am forever grateful for the existence between our worlds. Thank you for being a part of our family. I am honored to introduce the first 2020-21 Apache leader and one of my best friends, Charlie Halpin.
speech by saying that there's no amount of words or time that could explain how much this camp means to me, but I've done my best to attempt to explain the most important things that this camp has taught me. One of those things being that everything I've ever wanted is on the other side of my fears. My first year at camp was in 2016, and the longest I'd ever been away from my family before C-session was 1 week. As the bus doors closed, I realized I was heading to an unfamiliar place with all but 2 unfamiliar friends. I worried that I wouldn't fit in and I wouldn't enjoy my time at camp. I was both terrified and mad that I was so far out of my comfort zone. The only thing keeping me calm was the fact that I was promised McDonald's for lunch on the bus, so after lunch, and I was told we had another 3 hours of driving, all I could do was worry. Once I stepped off the bus, I was met with smiling faces that would quickly become some of my best friends and role models. Little did I know the air I was breathing would be forever the smell of home from that moment on. I didn't know that the campfire ring would be my favorite place in the world. I didn't know that the middle of the soccer field would be where I played my Leader Braveheart games. And I didn't know how quickly getting piggyback rides from the older kids to meals would transition into me being one of those older kids giving the piggyback rides. I would have never known any of this stuff if I didn't see what was on the other side of my fears. The fact that I'm able to give this speech shows how much this camp has done for me. I couldn't even give a Zoom presentation for school without taking a break every few minutes to catch my breath and stop shaking. Nervousness has just always been a part of camp for me. Every single year, without failure, I second-guess myself during the school year. I think to myself, what if camp isn't the same? What if the right people aren't there? And what if I miss out on time with my friends at home? The reason it's hard for me to believe that camp will be the same every year is because the feeling of camp is so incredibly indescribable and irreplaceable that I can't imagine ever finding that feeling again once I get on the bus to go back home. Each time those bus doors close behind me, I wonder if that's the last time I'll ever feel it. But what I've realized over the course of this year is camp won't always be the same as it was the previous year. But that doesn't matter. Camp is what you make of it out here in Rhinelander. The right people are always here, no matter what. It might not always be the same combination of people, but it's always the right people. While one counselor may be spending their last summer up at camp, a new counselor is beginning their journey to becoming a role model and another reason for kids to come back here. If there's one thing that I can confidently say will always be constant about this place, it would be that there will always be people here that will make you feel like you're at home. For some campers, it may take a while for that to come, but if you're listening to this and can't relate right now, please don't lose hope. All it takes is one moment. Earlier I mentioned that every year when camp comes around, I get nervous or scared for various reasons. This year I've come to realize that I just have to deal with those bad feelings in order to experience the good. I'll always be someone that worries or second guesses myself, but camp has proven to me that being nervous isn't a good or bad feeling. It's just something that comes with other feelings. I don't think any of the feelings I feel at camp, any of the feelings I feel when I'm at camp can be described with 1 or 2 words because that just wouldn't do them justice. So I tend to just connect them with moments. Sometimes I get that feeling I got when Walt Zafran called me a goon for the first time during my first year at camp. That one makes me feel like a kid again, and I love that feeling. Sometimes I feel the same thing I felt when Nate Tanner asked me to do his Leader +1 Braveheart game with him when I was 15. That made me feel like I was on top of the world. A new feeling that I've become familiar with this summer was something I felt when I got back to camp from the hospital a couple weeks ago after getting stitches in my foot. The other 7 leaders were waiting for me and ready to make me laugh as soon as I hobbled out of the car, and I felt safe and thankful that I was back with my people. Sometimes I even feel the same thing I was feeling when I realized the senior spirit word speech that Kiana was reading out in front of the whole camp at the end of C-session was about me. That feeling made me feel so proud of myself, and getting cheered on by some guys I've always seen as my greatest role models and even my heroes is a feeling I'll never forget. But a feeling that could never be matched, and a feeling I could talk about for hours on hours, is the feeling I get about halfway through every Sunday night campfire at Camp Deerhorn. The first half of the campfire is usually when I calm down from the big day after a Sunday event, but halfway through, I begin to zone out, and an overwhelming feeling of being at home, being at a place that I should be at, comes over me. I believe that feeling is somewhere out there for everyone, and my somewhere is Camp Deerhorn. All of those things are coincidentally connected to people at camp, so I'd like to take this time to thank some people that have had a lot to do with my camp experience over the years. I wouldn't be giving this speech right now if it weren't for these people. Firstly, I'd like to thank my parents for making this all possible and persuading me to see what was on the other side of my fears every single year, and helping me get back to camp. I really wouldn't be here without you guys. I'd also like to give a massive thank you to the directors of camp for allowing me to experience this summer and trusting me to lead one of the camp teams. I can never thank you guys enough for continuing to let me grow into who I've become over the years. I want to thank Kiana specifically for being truly one of my best friends and always being there for me when I need help with anything. I don't think I could have gotten through this summer without you. And Nate Tanner, I want to thank you for being the best leader I've had at this camp and being the main part of my pioneer year. Thank you for letting me be such a big part of your leader summer, and thank you for being such a big part of mine. I'd like to thank Emmett Nomalini for being the best Voyager I could have ever asked for and always being a helping hand when Reiner and I essentially needed a third leader. You're one of the most willing to help and mature people I've ever met, and I'm proud to say you're on Reiner and I's team. I also want to thank TJ for always keeping me in check and holding me accountable for everything this year. You really made me the best leader I could be, and I'm extremely grateful for the work you have put in this summer. You were always there when I needed advice or just someone to talk with. Often if you ask me who my best friend at camp has been over the past 6 years, my answer may change depending on the circumstances at the moment. But every time that question is asked to me, I know exactly what my answer is. Since my first year at camp, I've tried to be like Walt Zafran every day. I never had a big brother, but Walt is as close as it could possibly be. Every single year at camp, he's been there for me every step of the way. I could never really put the reason I looked up to him so much into words, but this summer, a good friend of mine helped me figure it out. Walt is one of those guys that picks his people. He's selective of who he's close with. I don't know what I did to deserve to be one of his people, but I think that's why I've always seen him as my big brother. Since I was 12, Walt has protected me and helped me grow. Whenever he saw me around camp, Walt would shout out to me or come over and put his arm around me. And he's always been like that with me, ever since the start. I know it's a cliche, but Walt really is my brother, and he makes Deerhorn what it is for me, home. So thank you, Walt, for picking me as one of your people. You're my best friend, man. Lastly, I want to thank all of my other leaders. I couldn't have asked for a better group of guys to do all this with. Each of you guys are so special, and all have something spectacular to bring to the table. Whitney, thank you for always being there for me, whether I ask for help from you or not. You always know when I'm not doing well and are the first one to pick me up when I'm feeling down. Flom, thank you for being one of the most resilient and persevering people I've ever met. I know sometimes it's hard around here to live up to a big name, but I think you've done the job perfectly. And between you and I think you're a faster runner than Reiner. JP, thank you for making me better in every aspect and truly showing me what it's like to always play on the level. I really look up to how pure and loving you are to everyone around you. Strickland, you're one of the most intelligent and well put together people I've ever met, and I had such a great time learning from you and getting to know you this summer. Inigo, thank you for showing me what it means to be a hard worker and putting everything you have into everything you do. Even though I never got to pull you in One Flag Braveheart, one day I'll get you, but probably not in this lifetime. Affleter, thank you for always being there whenever I need a laugh. I'll never forget that one dinner we had when we were pretending to be Italian when we were eating spaghetti. I don't think I've ever laughed that hard, and if I could take one thing from you, it would be your ability to make people smile. And most importantly, I'd like to thank my co-leader, Jack Reiner. Originally, the boy I was supposed to lead Apache with was going to be Jack Pavia, but near the start of camp, something came up and someone else had to step into the role. Reiner was the person to step up and see what was on the other side of his fears and worries. I'd never really talked with Jack Reiner before, so when Amy called me to tell me he was my new co-leader, I didn't know what to think. But anyone who was trusted at camp was a friend of mine, so I knew I had nothing to worry about. I briefly remembered him being on Iroquois with me when I was 15, and the only thing I remembered was that he didn't talk much. Turned out I was wrong about that. The sound of his loud voice and contagious laugh will be forever ingrained in my mind. Every day that has passed in the last 8 weeks, I feel like Reiner and I have gotten closer. Getting to know Reiner was such a pleasure, and I couldn't think of anyone more deserving and qualified to be a leader at Camp Deerhorn. Thinking back on this year, I couldn't imagine anyone else being my co-leader, and I'm so proud to call Jack Reiner my co-leader. He's truly one of my best friends. I couldn't begin to think about how much less memorable this summer would have been if Jack didn't step out of his comfort zone and take on the responsibility of being a leader. L8, sometimes it may seem like your actions or abilities are taken for granted, but I promise you, they don't go unnoticed. Thank you guys for being you, and for the best summer I could have ever asked for. And finally, I'd like to thank this camp as a whole, and everyone that I've ever interacted with here, for teaching me to step out of my comfort zone and showing me what was on the other side of my fears.
up your bags and be back to clock. Well, let her sleep, or should I wake her up? We both go together if one falls down. Talk out loud like you're still around. No, no, but I miss you. I'm going back home to the West Coast. Wish you would've put yourself in my suitcase. Love you, standing all alone in your black coat. I miss you. I'm going back home to the West Coast. 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 I'm going back home to the West Coast.
The first time I met Jack was when I was in AC in one of his koojies. And the one concrete memory I have of him was that one time he asked me to send him my music playlist. Little did I know at that time, but that wide-eyed kid would become a dear friend of mine who I would share a summer full of memories with. At the beginning of the summer, I wasn't quite sure what to expect from Jack. But after just a couple days, it was evident that he was an amazing kid and would excel throughout his leader summer. With his campers, Jack is kind, compassionate, Jack is kind, composed, caring, and all-around amazing role model. He always brings the energy to team competition, plays every game on the level, wins modestly, loses gracefully, and always has a kind word for the opposing side. In his leader challenge for the Olympics, which was a short swim, 2-mile bike, and 2-mile run, Jack dominated from wire to wire and did it all with a smile. In the monkeys, Rhino started with a small lead and never looked back, winning in stylish fashion. He finished his leader sandcastle in great time and did it all with his co-leader doing it from a golf cart. It was just awesome to watch. Both of these moments serve as testaments to Jack's awesome athletic ability, as well as his overall ability to lead an amazing team. Jack never fails to make myself, as well as the rest of the Kooji, staff, and campers laugh. One time we were playing a game with some of the leaders to see who could chug a glass of water the fastest. It's a pretty simple game, yet for some reason, Jack drank his water in such a manner that he had everybody in the council room dying of laughter. And that is just one example of the many, many things Jack does to spread sunshine and good cheer just for the fun of it. Jack's goofy side is matched equally by his responsibility and dedication. He is always level-headed and mature when he needs to be. Whenever he would come down to the harbor and help us run sailing, I had complete trust in him to make the correct decision regardless of the situation and help keep all the kiddos safe. Jack was also at those stables quite often this year. Remember one day when my good friend and riding counselor Jack Greco was telling me how amazed he was about Rhino's transformation from a relatively new rider to one of the best riders at camp. You've made so much progress this summer that I'm sure by now you're just as trusted and respected as a counselor while at the stables. Jack is as dependable as they get, and I know that this trait has and will always continue to serve him well throughout all aspects of his life. For those of you who don't know, Jack runs track for his high school. In order to stay in shape and be competitive when the season starts, Jack would run multiple miles multiple times a week. It felt like nearly every other day I would be going to take a quick nap during G-Swim, only to see Reiner and Owen Flom gearing up to go work out. This willpower and dedication it took to do that after running around under the hot sun all day was truly inspiring. Jack was just as dedicated towards being the best leader possible and making sure all his campers had a great camp experience. So it comes to no surprise he achieved both of those goals and way more. Believe it or not, Jack is here right now because one of the original leaders wasn't able to come for the summer. And Jack, I want you to know that you should never look at yourself as the fifth option. You deserve the spot just as much as anyone else and did better than most would have. Watching you grow and mature and becoming better and better friends with you every day has been truly one of the highlights of my summer. I just want to thank you for that. Jack is charismatic, compassionate, inclusive, positive, intelligent, and always working to be the best version of himself. These characteristics that help you become an amazing leader will continue to help you, quite frankly, throughout your entire life. Whether it's high school, sports, work, or other future endeavors, remember what it took to be a Camp Dearhorn leader and apply those lessons to whatever situation you find yourself in. I hope you keep coming back to this place for years to come so you can fully experience everything camp has to offer and more. One of you, wherever you may go, remember camp. Remember the people that make this place special. Remember the creed, and never forget the friendships and memories created this summer. It's my privilege to introduce Apache leader and my dear friend, Jack Reiner.
In the fall, I saw my best friend from home get picked to be a leader, along with the kindest and smartest kid at camp who would always choose the top bunk in every Coogee, including this year. I also saw the funniest kid I've met get the honor of leader with them, and I laughed at and remembered the time we snuck him into our Coogee and under my bed at night when we were all 14. They all deserved it more than anyone else I knew, but I was really bummed not to see my name up there with them. It was hard to see my best friends all getting to spend the summer together, but it was okay. I was beyond happy for each and every one of them. Months passed, and I made plans for the summer, including coming back for Pathfinder, as well as working D session. My parents got the call saying I would have the opportunity to be a leader about a month or so before camp started. It was a tough decision considering I had already made plans, but accepting the offer just seemed like what I had to do. Today, I can confidently say it was the greatest decision of my entire life. I remember how much leaders meant to me as a camper. They were the examples of camp of how to live your life, how to bleed the creed. Thistle, Charlton, Tanner, they all bled the creed consistently, and becoming friends with them as a camper made me want to be like them, despite Tanner not making me a godslayer in chariots. Still salty about that one. Each of them in their own special ways showed me the meaning of Deerhorn. They taught me it wasn't about the teams or about the points or even becoming a leader. Camp is about having this incredible family, a family that cares for you more than anyone else could. They give you that unconditional love even after you leave camp. The memories, joy, love, excitement, and encouragement I've gotten from my Deerhorn family since 2014 is what means the most to me. This year even, I have made more friends who make me feel this way. Jacko, always leading our Coogee and calling us his kiddos. Tuna, wearing the #1 dad hat that we bought him. Emnom, helping lead, organize, and show by example as a camper on Apache. And Greco, giving me the encouragement when I was nervous, comfort when camp was nearing a close, and supplying me with water he insisted was from Mount Everest. All these people and more will forever have an immense impact on my life. As a leader and future staff member, I want nothing more than to give campers this experience because they'll never experience it anywhere else. Most people don't understand this Deerhorn magic, but when you get here and are homesick, and a counselor comes to help you, your eyes are open to the magic, like mine were my first year by Sam Cornell. There's no divide between campers, leaders, and staff. We're all friends here. We're all family. Having 8 leaders this year is new, but it worked better than I think anyone could have imagined. As a younger leader, I can still say I look up to the older 4. They are wise behind their ears, and I enjoy learning from them, especially my co-leader, Charlie Halpin. I haven't met anyone so passionate about camp. In team meetings, he would take every kid's thoughts and ideas so seriously when Sunday events rolled around. Despite being allergic to horses, his desire to take in all of camp and everything it had to offer was so strong that he would down Benadryl and go ride. He even got his gold star in riding. What was the most eye-opening to me was the monkeys. The day before the monkeys, he stepped on a zebra shell during a game of slippery watermelon, in which the younger Durs won 5-0, by the way. The injury didn't stop helping. He still built his sandcastle and took the dottle everywhere I ran during the relays. He cheered every second of the way and helped me incredibly with my own sandcastle. That's the Deerhorn spirit. That's what campers are to expose here. No matter what happens, you have the choice to keep your spirits high and things will be better. That's what Charlie Halpin taught me. Deerhorn teaches us how to live our lives through its family. There are rules here for camp, but more importantly, there's a list of rules here for life, the Deerhorn Creed. Ever since I started coming here and heard the creed, I've tried my hardest to live by it. To be a booster rather than a knocker. To spread sunshine and good cheer just for the fun of it. To be kind because manliness requires kindness. These are some of my favorite lines from the creed. Camp doesn't just give us these rules, camp shows us all how to live by them. All generations of the Broadbridges have ensured that this place remains special, that the Deerhorn family never ends and the love never lessens. I can say I bleed the creed because of them, because of this place. On the last night of sea session, I sat on the dock with Greco and Athelter, looking out into the lake, which was completely covered in fog. I couldn't see anything. The fog was uncertainty of the future. But even though there was the fog, the uncertainty, I knew camp was still right there, and my camp family was right beside me. They always will be, despite if there's fog or not. Nothing is more comforting than that. These people, this place, will forever be special to me and many others. Before I finish my Deerhorn career as a camper and move on to my next chapter here, I would like to thank a few people who made this place and this summer so amazing for me. Thank you to the Brass for giving me the opportunity to lead the Apache and trusting me to give these kids the best summer I can. Thank you, Kiana, for taking us younger dirts on constant E and S's, taking countless pictures of us, and making sure my co-leader was always in a good mood. Thank you, TJ, for being the baddest kid in camp, continuing to fuel my love for riding, and inspiring me through your confidence to try everything. Thank you, Greco, for constantly taking care of me, giving me an incredibly fun camp experience, and being my biggest hype man. Jacko, thank you for being the funniest guy I know, always supporting me and having my back, playing so much along with TJ and Kiana, leading our Kuji, and having a stellar taste in music. Thank you, L8, for being the greatest group of brothers I could have asked for. Flom, you're my best friend from home, and I'm so glad I had you here always looking out for me and making sure I was always good. Strickland, thank you for covering check-in for us all multiple times and acting as a responsible figure in the Kuji. Athelter, thank you for riding with me and always showing your crazy side, which made everyone around you happier. Alpin, thank you for leading with me and bringing that infectious positive spirit. Eli, thank you for being the wisest person I've met. You have helped me with my life countless times, and I will forever be grateful. Thanks for instantly welcoming me and becoming my best friend. JP, thank you for showing me how to lead by your fantastic example and always being someone I knew I could trust and go to for some stellar jab jokes. Inigo, thank you for displaying the values of camp and teaching me traditions and important lessons that come from Deerhorn. The people I want to thank the most are my parents. Mom, Dad, thank you so much for letting me come here. It must be hard seeing your son leave for the whole summer, but I promise you there's nothing I could have rather done this summer. You both have given me everything and taught me everything I know. I've brought all that knowledge here in hopes I can be an amazing example to the campers like you have been to me. I want to finish my summer the way my first ever father and son started. My first memory at camp was Kiana singing Good Riddance at the campfire. L8, I hope you had the time of your lives. I know I sure did.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind. Hang 'em on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life.